One, of course, the whole COVID situation has put students in a different mindset altogether, mainly because they're not used to this offline environment. To bring them back would be a big challenge, but we are seeing schools see great enrollment rates. Parents are also aware that the time has come for them to let go of that fear of getting kids back to the school.
If I say there was an old word dropout when we think of Bill Gates, that's a different context. In Corona, the dropout is literally because of the safety practices adopted by the universities, or maybe because of the health reasons that is happening in the family of that student. I have seen various examples, various schools. The parents are giving a call to the schools and they are saying, we don't want to send our kids to your school because we don't see distancing being maintained.
So what's going to happen is the students are going to benefit a lot more. The children are going to benefit a lot more from the new policies. Schools are going to become more pro-student, pro-children in a way that everything is centered around them and making it more enjoyable, less stressful, and not focusing too much on marks, but focusing more on the overall development, whether it's sports, whether it's creativity, whether it's, learning outside the classroom.
People are concerned about the safety, not about education. If you want to bring the dropouts back to the school, there has to be stringent practices adopted by the university so that they are feeling safe in the campus.
But yes, there are challenges that have come up, of course. One was that they were just not used to sitting in one place for quite some time, which had become a challenge. One big change that we can see is that the learning gaps have increased. During pandemic, the kind of attention the kids were able to give to what teacher was teaching was a big challenge. And in our school, we have a lot of experiential learning where we do things. Children like to enjoy and connect to those things. And when the concept clarity also comes, and the group learnings which happen, so that also was another one challenge which we are facing. So now those things are back. So we are working on the learning gaps of children, and slowly they are developing. But I think overall a very, very positive development. There is no doubt in that.
The dropout phenomenon has always been there prior to COVID, and after COVID it is accelerated. Student dropouts, mainly in schools, are due to the socio-economic factors. It comes down to the family's average income. It's basically finances. It comes down to the parents' educational backgrounds. There are other factors like the caste of the caste that the student belongs to. We've seen that from time and again, not just now, but over the last several years. These factors have played a huge role in identifying which student is likely to drop out of school.
The only thing I can say if his children start playing, they are at home, then bringing them to study is not easy. What I'm saying that if the children are at home for an extended period because of the pandemic, fortunately for villages, this was not so severe actually in the country. So I think we are fortunate that this problem has not gone so much in the small towns and villages. They are mostly isolated from this problem. This is mostly a city problem. I would say that we have to make teaching attractive. Secondly, the thing is that in primary or this school, teachers are not that good. Who take their profession with a passion that they want to really do something.
A student should feel engaged and should feel, should have a connect with the teacher, and that's when he will start attending the classes, start asking doubts, start being more proactive, which is not so much possible at scale in rural parts of the country, because you would have some teachers who would be very enthusiastic to deliver that kind of education, but of course not all of them will be, and maybe the infrastructure also doesn't enable them to do so. Now with, I think, technology coming in, you have the best of the minds, the most coveted teachers, say in Kota. They can now deliver that education to the remotest villages around even Chhattisgarh and some places. I think digital technology can enable provoking that interest in rural country, as well as maintaining and retaining that interest, if we are able to penetrate that deeper and deliver that kind of education.
So online education is a relatively newer concept, and though it has been around for a very long time, it was given the much needed push after the pandemic. It is really boosting learning that transcends borders, and it's also making high class, high quality education more affordable and also accessible to learners across geographies. It is aiding us to not only store our content online and make it available to a wide range of audience, but also sort of have a repository of all of that content being made available to cohort after cohort without putting in the extra effort every time.
Technology is an enabler. Technology is an empowering tool. So when we say they can help somebody, nowadays we are having medical surgeries happening online. So even means via telemedia and all that. Yes, there are many companies who have given this solution to the government and they are able to give this solution. Yes, if you want to educate the whole country, teachers can't travel to the every location. So we have to have some centers where education can be delivered online. When the system of edX came for the first time in the world, you won't believe the professor, he said I think in Harvard or some other Stanford, he said, if I have to teach 1 million students for this course, I have to teach for at least 300 years. But via online medium, I can teach it in few months only. The reach was tremendous. So if you have to educate a country as big as India, so you have to use this tool. If you can't use this tool, chances are very difficult that we can have a dream of educating the whole India.
As I said, I think it is going to be crucial in terms of using the both mediums, because in the class of 40 when I have, it is challenging for me to reach the level of each and every child, right? So what this technology can do, it can, in mass scale, it can work in terms of reaching everybody. But in school, what we are doing, we are using it as, let's say, group activities, which children learn a lot, learn from each other, learn how to work in a team. It is allowing us to take the best of both and remove the worst of. So I think it is the future, and I think we, as a school, we are wholeheartedly embracing it.
So as you said, in the remote areas, not only in tier 1, tier 2 cities, we need to develop this culture and this ecosystem. One of the very important aspects is investment in digital technologies. It could be made by the state governments, it could be made by the central government, it could be made by keeping a budget aside by colleges and universities to upgrade their faculty members, to provide them digital tools, and once they have those digital tools, they will learn automatically on their own, themselves also. It has become a compulsory part of our lives. So earlier we used to say roti, kapda or makan, and now we have to say roti, kapda, makan and data or technology. We can't live without that.
The thing with technology is it always comes back to the digital divide conundrum, right? Because firstly, do all these people have access? And if they have access, it's a lot easier to penetrate into the entire, the age group of 6 to 18. But if the access isn't there, it's really difficult to bring in technology, because the hardware is your medium to the digital aspect. So I think till that day comes, I think it's a question that we shouldn't really think too much about and focus more on the physical infrastructure.
People need to have more skill-based approach. It has to be more customized. With this edtech, at least that's happening. It's still lots to happen. If we compare with Western world, but Indian education not bad. It's definitely getting better.
I feel that online education is going to be very, very, very important. It is not a replacement for physical education. Around 2000 or so, I was in Japan, and when I went from India to Japan, in India the internet was just very slow. In Japan, I put any search on Google, it is there immediately. Then I thought that internet could be a thing for education. Even one good professor can teach the whole world. In a nutshell, what I want to say that it will be quite difficult to ask some really good people and ask them to go and teach in a village or in a small town. But if it is online, then these children can also study. at least they're much better off than having nothing. So I think government is trying to connect all villages, every corner of the country with the internet. This is going to help. This is my feeling. There is a going in the right direction. How fast it can be done, I cannot say. Modi ji hai to gati hai na, gati shakti. I want to say loudly, education ki gati shakti karo.